Welcome back. Even though manufacturing is one of the top industries in Nebraska, women only make up about 30% of the workforce. Women in Manufacturing is an organization that hopes to level that playing field. Chronicle's Mary Regley reports from Metro Community College's South Campus to tell us how.
This workspace here at MCC became the classroom for metro area high school girls as they learned all about career opportunities in manufacturing.
Hannah Bolte is the co-chair for Women in Manufacturing. She says her career field is not typically one that people dream about going into when they're young. But she says the career possibilities are endless.
It's really a career jungle gym. So when we introduce these girls to careers in manufacturing, our hope is that they can see the vast opportunity that's in front of them.
The girls heard from Women in Manufacturing about their experiences and advice.
Because you don't have to know everything in manufacturing to start. You just have to be willing to learn.
Manufacturing has so many opportunities that we don't even think about from the outside, that there's always a place for you.
Sometimes the finished part needs paint.
They also saw firsthand what a job in that field looks like.
When we did the hands-on thing, I liked that part because it looks very easy and interesting to do.
The students say even if they don't go into manufacturing, they're glad to see it's a possibility.
Boys think that girls are not strong and they can't do things, but we really can do those things too.
If you'd like to learn more about women in manufacturing and what they do here in Nebraska, you can head to womeninmanufacturing.org. In South Omaha, Mary Regley, KTV News Watch 7.
Or you could just listen in as Hannah Bolte joins us right now. In addition to her work for Women in Manufacturing, Hannah's Director of Marketing and Communication for Lozier. Thanks for being here, Hannah.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You said in Mary's story that I want to get this right. MCC Workshop was like a career jungle gym.
The thing is that manufacturing is like a career jungle gym.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is anyone can start in manufacturing. You don't have to have any experience. It's one of the only industries that you can just say, hey, I think I kind of want to learn. You get in, you learn, and then you're provided opportunities to grow and to develop and move around, to try new things, regardless of the company that you work for.
I know you're wearing two hats from Lozier and also the group. What big picture, what keeps women from getting involved in manufacturing?
I think there's a few things. I think it's not talked about enough as a career option. And I think it's a little intimidating for especially the group that met this week, for young girls to see themselves in a position that's a male-dominated field. So 29-30% of the workforce in manufacturing is men, and I think that can be kind of intimidating.
Sure.
I think the tide is starting to turn, and I think that's a great thing.
I think so. Has it turned around fast enough? Is it turning around fast enough?
I think it's starting to turn around in a really great way.
Okay.
I think it's taken a long time to get where we're at, but I think normalizing and redefining what success looks like for not just kids coming out of high school, but for adults too. The industry has a brand reputation problem, and I think part of it is manufacturing is so vast.
Right.
You know, there's sheet metal manufacturing, there's food manufacturing, there's, all kinds. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not like automotive where that's going to be basically the same thing. You're just working on a different kind of motor vehicle. So I think there's a brand issue, and I think redefining success as this is an option that's very lucrative for you, and it's equivalent to going to a 4-year school or anything else you might do. I think there's a lot of progress in that space.
2022, we did an interview with you at one of Lozier's signing ceremonies, and you said, and the quote was, because the industry has such a great demand, we need new and creative ways to get students interested. How do you get more creative? How are you being creative?
I think programs like our sponsorship for the trades program that we have with MCC on the Lozier side, there are several companies that do it. Ours is maybe a little bit different than others. So we take graduating high school seniors who've shown an interest in the career field of skilled trades. Maybe they've taken a class or something. They apply for a sponsorship program. We sign them into a career in the trades. They never see a bill. We take that bill from MCC, we pay that bill, and they work for us part-time while they're going to school. And that's one creative way that we're trying to incentivize the skilled trades. I also think events like the Women in Manufacturing events and putting, career professionals in front of students to be able to talk about how do you do this and what does support look like. So I think just thinking differently means a lot of different things, but a lot of it is breaking down that gap, that barrier to entry.
How do you go out and find the students? You said they may show some aptitude in a class and then apply, but are you out in the school saying, hey, if you want, we have all these trades.
Yes.
Here.
So we spend at Logier, we have partnered with almost every school district, if not every single school district in the Omaha metropolitan area, even over into Iowa. So we spend a lot of time in the schools working with the school counselors, working with the teachers, building those relationships and getting in front of the students. Maybe it's not even just for Logier, right? It's to promote manufacturing as an option post-high school. There are a lot of kids that don't know what they want to do when they grow up.
Right.
And that's okay. I think a lot of people reinvent themselves over and over and over again, but you can't reinvent yourself into manufacturing if you don't know it exists. So presenting those as career options of, it doesn't have to be forever, but here's, it can be if you choose to be.
Yeah, you just had a job fair. We have some video of it, actually, we can show. How did that go?
It was great. So we were looking to hire anywhere between 85 and 100 entry-level production workers. This was earlier in the month. It was also the same day as our employee open house. So we ended up hiring 102 people that day, which was really phenomenal.
To say that number again?
102.
Wow, off of one job fair.
Yes.
I think a lot of people's jaws just dropped like mine, because that's stunning. Usually, you have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people hired.
Right.
102. What kind of jobs are we talking? Are they hired for?
Yeah, so they were all hired for entry-level production jobs, which means you can come in and you can work on a machine as a machine operator. You can work on a paint line. At Logier, we make store fixtures, so we make store shelves, checkout counters, warehouse racking. So on the paint line, you're hanging shelves every day. We rotate between the different machines, but they're coming in an entry-level position, knowing they don't have to know anything about it, but we're going to teach them that.
And what's the ceiling like for someone coming in? What's the opportunity for growth and pay?
Yeah, so those jobs start, $20-some an hour, depending on shift. It increases on the later shifts. So they come in an entry-level job. They have opportunities to grow into higher level positions. If they want to move into like a lead or a supervisor role, there are internal training opportunities for them if they so choose.
From your vantage point, has the image of manufacturing changed at all? I mean, you've been there for a couple of years.
Yeah, I've been at Logier for almost 5 years, and I'd say we're making progress. It's not just Logier, it's the manufacturing industry. But I think because manufacturing means so many different things, it's going to be a difficult thing to change the perception of, and it will be really employers being very dedicated to that brand awareness and recognition. But I think people are starting to see the opportunities that exist in the industry to get in, to learn, to grow, and really manufacturing powers the world. So how cool is it to have a piece of that? I know at Logier, we don't have a single employee that probably walks into a store and doesn't look for the little Logier at the top of the shelf. It's something you never think about, but it would be very strange to walk into a store without shelves.
Absolutely. And with your women in manufacturing hat on, what's the major concern, I guess, you were hearing from a young woman who's thinking maybe I would get involved, but?
Yeah, I would say you're asking what their concerns are?
Yeah, basically, so someone out there's watching and they're thinking, oh man, that's what I'm thinking. I want to go into the trades, but.
It's usually, I don't know how.
Ah.
And how do I do that? How can I see myself there? Or I'm kind of scared. Like, what does support look like?
Right.
And, that maybe in some companies that path hasn't really been paved and it's not as clear and obvious as others.
Right.
So typically those conversations are more around, okay, what are the classes I need to take? What are, the skills that I need to have? And what does the support look like for me?
So real quick then, how do they get in touch with you? Do they contact Logier? That's for that one business, but how do they contact?
So Women in Manufacturing is a national organization. Yep. We have a local chapter, the Nebraska chapter. So womeninmanufacturing.org, there's a tab for the Nebraska chapter, and they can get in touch with any of the board members. But I would say, that's a universal thought. And I know MCC and other education partners are there to help as well, to make those introductions, to introduce these younger girls into someone who's doing this already. And usually they have a conversation and then they're good.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Hannah, thanks for coming in. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you for having me.
You bet. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, coming up, how students are learning a specialized skill and giving people a place to live at the same time. First, what are your thoughts on job search in Nebraska and Iowa nowadays? Send us an email. It's news@ketv.com. Love hearing from you. Then we'll be right back.